Mahalia Jackson, the queen of gospel and the voice of movement. Mahalia Jackson, the queen of gospel and the voice of the movement. Hello, families, and welcome back to Black History for Us All. I'm Mrs. Deb. I'm so glad you're here. We're continuing our journey through the lives of Black pioneers who changed history. Because Black history isn't just for some of us, it's for all of us. Yesterday, we learned about Paul Robeson, a man whose voice, both in music and activism, shook the world. Today, we celebrate another voice, one that moved souls, inspired marches, and gave strength to the civil rights movement. She was known as the Queen of Gospel. But she was more than a singer. She was a force for justice. Today, we honor Mahalia Jackson, a voice raised in faith. Mahalia Jackson was born on October 26, 1911 in New Orleans, Louisiana. She grew up in a small house with 13 family members, and life was not easy. But from a young age, she found comfort in one place, the church. Her mother died when she was just 5 years old, and she was raised by her strict aunt who made her work hard every single day. But when Sunday morning came, everything changed. Gospel music filled the air, and Mahalia sang with a voice that couldn't be ignored. Even as a little girl, her voice carried a power that brought people to their feet. But back then, gospel music wasn't considered serious music. It was seen as something for churches, not big concert stages. But did that stop Mahalia? Not for a second. She believed that gospel music was a gift from God, and she was determined to share it with the world, rising to fame. At just 16, Mahalia moved to Chicago, hoping for a better life. She worked as a maid and a laundress while singing in church choirs, but soon her voice caught the attention of everyone around her. People came from miles away just to hear her sing. She recorded her first songs in the late 1930s, but it wasn't until 1947 that she had her first major hit, Move On Up a Little Higher. The song sold over 1 million copies and made her an international star. It was one of the first gospel songs to be played on mainstream radio, breaking barriers for Black artists and gospel music alike. But Mahalia never left gospel behind. While others urged her to sing jazz or blues, she refused. She said, "I sing God's music because it makes me feel free." But Mahalia Jackson's impact went beyond music. She became the voice of a movement. In the 1950s and 60s, as the civil rights movement grew, Mahalia used her fame to support the justice and equality for all. She became close friends with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., often singing rallies and fundraisers to lift spirits and inspire action. And then came the March on Washington on August 28, 1963, a day that changed history. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial, waiting to hear Dr. King's famous speech. But did you know that Mahalia played a major role in that moment? Dr. King was speaking, but at one point, he wasn't sure what to say next. That's when Mahalia, standing by him. Dr. King was speaking, but at one point, he wasn't sure what to say next. That's when Mahalia, standing behind him, called out, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream." And that's when Dr. King launched into the most famous part of his speech, the words that still echo in history today. Mahalia's encouragement helped create one of the most powerful moments in the civil rights movement, a lasting legacy. Mahalia Jackson's music wasn't just about faith, it was about freedom. She inspired millions with her voice, her courage, and her commitment to justice. Even after Dr. King's assassination, she continued to fight for racial and economic justice, using her music to uplift and help communities. She passed away in 1972, but her influence lives on. Today, she is still remembered as the Queen of Gospel, a civil rights icon, and one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Mahalia Jackson teaches us the power of using our voices, whether it be in song or in standing up for what's right. Here are 3 ways to honor her legacy. Use your gifts for good. Whatever your talent is, use it to make a difference like Mahalia did. Support artists who speak out. Music has always been a powerful tool for justice. Learn more about the civil rights movement. Understanding history helps build us a better future. Want to keep learning? Download today's free Mahalia Jackson printable at heymrsdev.com/podcast. Love the podcast? Keep it going by supporting at paypal.biz/heymrsdev. Next, we're diving into the life of a man whose voice wasn't just legendary in music, but in activism as well. A singer, actor, and global freedom fighter. Get ready to meet Harry Belafonte, and I look forward to sharing more powerful stories with you.